All right, today we are diving into one of Japan's most famous and honestly most unsettling legends. It's the story of a doll whose hair never stops growing, whose mouth is slowly opening, and whose spirit is said to be trapped inside. It's a story that starts with a simple act of love but spirals into a century of absolute horror. Think about it for a second. We all had that one toy as a kid, right? The one that was practically a member of the family, our best friend. But this legend, it makes you ask a pretty chilling question. What if that connection, that love, never actually breaks? Not even after death. So let's set the scene. We have to go all the way back to 1918 in Japan, and it all kicks off with something so innocent, so pure. A brother buying a present for his little sister. It's a simple gesture that, as we're about to see, is the spark that ignites a terrifying chain of events. So let's talk about that gift and the little girl it was for. Okay, so let's meet the family at the heart of all this, the Suzukis. You've got Aikichi, he's 17, a really devoted big brother, and then there's his little sister, Kikuko, who's just about to have her 4th birthday. Now, it's important to know this is a family that's really struggling. The dad's a laborer, the mom does sewing work to help make ends meet. Money is really, really tight. And like a lot of little kids, Kikuko had just one simple wish for her birthday. She wanted a doll, something to play with, something to be her best friend. But, because they were struggling so much, her parents had to break her heart and tell her no. They just couldn't afford it. But Aikichi, her big brother, he just couldn't stand to see her so sad. So he spent a whole month doing odd jobs, scraping together every penny he could. And then he saw it in a shop window, this traditional Japanese doll, but there was something different about it. It had this strangely peaceful look, but its eyes were just incredibly deep. And its hair, this jet black bob cut right at the neck. He knew right then and there that was the one. And Kikuko? Oh, she was absolutely ecstatic. It was love at first sight. That doll went everywhere with her. She combed its hair, she pretended to give it baths, she slept with it every single night. She gave her new best friend a name, Okiku. This happy little scene, though, well, it didn't last. In fact, it's right here that the story takes an absolutely tragic, heartbreaking turn. So one day, Kukuku is just playing outside, like any other kid, when she gets bitten by a mosquito. And it turns into a really, really severe case of malaria. The illness was fast and it was brutal. She lost breath. The family was just shattered. They wanted to cremate the doll with Kikuko. That's the tradition, you send a loved one's favorite possession with them. But for some reason, they couldn't get permission from the temple. So instead, they placed Okiku on a shelf in their home as a small memorial to their daughter. And this is where the real horror begins. So now you have this doll just sitting there in this house filled with grief. And little by little, strange things start happening. Things that, well, nobody could explain. It starts one night with Ikichi. He's woken up by these faint sounds coming from the hall. At first, he probably thinks he's dreaming, right? But then he realizes it sounds exactly like his sister's voice, like a soft whisper. So, of course, he gets up to check it out, but nothing's there. But then it starts happening more and more often. And soon, it's not just him. His parents start hearing it too, that same disembodied voice, and sometimes the soft laughter of the daughter they just lost. Okay, weird sounds are one thing. But then they get physical proof. One day, Aikichi is just putting the doll back on the shelf, and he sees something that just shouldn't be possible. The doll's hair, remember how it was cut to its neck? Well, now it was hanging down to its shoulders. It had grown. And this is where it gets super creepy. It wasn't just that the hair was longer. When Aikichi looked closer, he saw the color was changing. It was shifting from that pure black to a kind of brownish shade. It even had split ends. And when he touched it, it felt exactly like real human hair. His parents at first just blew it off. You're just imagining things, son, it's the grief. So, to put an end to it, his mother grabs a pair of scissors and trims the doll's hair right back to its original neck length. But this act, this attempt to restore a little bit of normalcy, it was a terrible, terrible mistake. It unleashed something awful. So everything that had been subtle and creepy up to this point, that's over. Now it's about to get loud, violent, and absolutely terrifying. The haunting is done being passive. Immediately after that haircut, the family's life became a living hell. First, the nightmares started, all of them having the exact same dream of the Okiku doll trying to kill them. Then one night, the mother wakes up screaming because the doll is just sitting on her chest. Ikichi even sees it with his own two eyes. Its head slowly turns towards him, and then it blinks. That's it. They're done. They grab the doll, take it out to a field, and bury it, just desperate to be free. Their relief was, you can imagine, short-lived. That very same night, they're jolted awake by a violent banging on the front door. The entire house begins to shake as if it's in an earthquake, and they can hear what sounds like a child crying in pain just outside. Somehow, the father musters up the courage to open the door, and standing there is the Okiku doll. He freezes in terror, unable to even scream. And as he stares, its hair, now long again, begins to writhe and grow, lashing out and wrapping itself around his neck, strangling him. As his father is being choked, Eikichi, in just a moment of pure desperation, screams his sister's name, Kikuko. And just like that, the doll goes totally limp. The hair releases its grip and it just falls to the floor, once again a lifeless object. They had found the only thing that could stop it. The immediate attack was over, but their ordeal was far from finished. They now understood they couldn't get rid of the doll, and they were beginning to understand the true nature of what they were dealing with. Their nightmare was going to continue for decades. 20 years. Can you even wrap your head around that? The Suzuki family lived with this terror for 2 decades. Any attempt they made to discard the doll just resulted in its violent return, and the paranormal activity would always intensify around the anniversary of Kikuko's birthday. So, after 20 years of this, they just couldn't take it anymore. They had priests and monks try to cleanse the doll, but nothing worked. Finally, in 1938, they surrendered it to the monks at the Manenji temple, basically begging them to take it and contain whatever spirit was inside. And this is where the story gets even more chilling, because the doll is still at that temple today, nearly a century later. And yeah, the hair? It still grows. The monks have to trim it periodically. But there are new developments. The doll's once closed mouth is reportedly, slowly, opening. And visitors claim you can now see something inside. Small, human-like teeth that also appear to be growing. And so we're left with this final, haunting question. Is the Okiku doll possessed by the restless spirit of a little girl who just can't let go of her favorite toy? Or did Eikichi bring something else into his home that day, something ancient and malevolent that is just wearing the face of a child? That's the mystery at the heart of this incredible legend.